never sleep if you are tired. I've heard you don't regret when you say.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Bella here. Long time no talk. So, I just wanted to make a video today to kind of update you guys on what's been going on with me and where I've been. Gee, it's good to be back talking to you guys. I miss everybody. I miss all your comments and playing with people and things like this. I've been going through a lot of things lately. Back in November, I found out that I was a type 2 diabetic, and my A1C was like an 8.8, which was pretty scary. And I just decided I didn't really want to do that. I don't want to be a diabetic. My dad, my biological dad, was a diabetic, and he passed away July of 2014, and I guess it was like complications with his kidneys from the diabetes. And I didn't really get to know my dad, as a lot of you may know. I met him for maybe half an hour in my whole life, so, but neither here nor there, he still is my biological dad, and sometimes when people have sick parents, they can be kind of prone to get sick as well. So I was really not okay with that, what the doctor had said, and I always believe that there's an answer and something that you can do to better yourself even if you get really bad news. So I started looking up online, things about diabetes, trying to educate myself, and looking also for a cure or answers or ways to manage it better or whatever. And because I didn't want to be put on medication or insulin, I started looking up online to see if there was better ways to manage it or to get rid of it, cure it, whatever. And I came across this doctor called Dr. Jason Fung, and he was saying about that he knows like how to cure it. So basically what he proclaims is that you can do a thing called intermittent fasting, and through doing so you can cure diabetes in basically in as little as 12 weeks. So after reading about it and really, delving into his videos and research papers and things like this, I really felt like what he had to say it seemed legit, and I wanted to give it a try. I figured, what do I have to lose? So what I decided, there's all kinds of different fasting that you can do. They have ones where you can fast for 36 hours at a time. You can do it every other day for 24 hours every other day. They have some where you do it in a 24-hour period. You'll fast for 16 hours and eat only during an 8-hour eating window. They have an 18-hour fast where you can eat in a 6-hour window. Either way, it adds up to 24 hours. So I decided to do one called Lean Gains, which is where you fast for 16 hours and you eat for 8 hours. And during my fasting, 8 hours of that, I make sure that I'm sleeping. So whenever I took my fasted blood sugar, which if you don't know what that is, it's you prick your finger in the morning when you wake up before you've eaten anything, and that's when you've been fasting. And you see what your blood sugar is. And if you get two readings of 126 in a row, that means you're diabetic. If it's anywhere between 60 to 100, it means you're not diabetic. And if it's a little bit over the 100 but not 126, then that means you're pre-diabetic. So when I first checked mine out before I actually started fasting, I was around 168 in the morning, and that's not good. So anytime that your blood sugar is over 126, and it's that way for long durations of time, your body is being damaged at that time on a cellular level, and you are at risk having to have legs or arms amputated. You're at risk for stroke, heart attack, heart disease, all sorts of bad stuff, and blindness as well, going blind. So those things didn't really appeal to me, and I didn't want to live my life like that. So I started doing the fasting, and so the first 2 days, the day before I started, it was 168, and the next day it was 164, which was the day I began fasting. So the next morning after my first night of fasting, my blood sugar dropped dramatically upon fasting, upon waking. It was at 139. So I thought, well, there's something to this, so I continued doing it. I eventually got my blood sugar in the morning down below 100, usually in the 90s, 80s or 90s, and I was really, really happy about that. And I went back to the doctor after a set amount of time, about a month of fasting, and he did an A1C blood test on me again, and I had dropped without medication my A1C from an 8.8 to a 7.9. So I absolutely knew that it was working, and no way was I going to stop doing it. So I continued doing it. And when you say the word fasting, people freak out. They're like, oh my God, I couldn't do that. I could not eat, or I would just get shaky or dizzy or whatever. But honestly, it's not that hard. So I eat from 9:30 in the morning until 5:30 p.m. And I cut all food off at 5:30 p.m. and I don't eat anything after that time until 9:30 the next morning. I do still get in 3 meals a day. My goal is to only get in 2 meals a day, but for now I'm still doing 3 meals a day. And after about, I think, like 6 to 7 weeks of doing that, I heard about another diet called the ketogenic diet, which is high fat, the good fat, the healthy fat, moderate protein, and low carbs, like 17 grams or less a day, and 5 grams or less of sugar a day, and that was usually coming from fruits and vegetables. And I have actually found out that there is sugar in like literally everything. So I started doing the keto, and when I started doing that, the very next morning after the first day of it, my blood sugar went from 130 to 107 in the morning. So I continued doing that. One of the things that happened during doing keto, I guess, because I don't really know, I've been to the doctor for a lot of things, but all of a sudden one day I woke up and I was having trouble breathing. And while I do have asthma, it's very well controlled. And I was taking my inhaler, trying to make myself breathe better, and nothing was working. And I told my husband, I don't think that this is asthma. I just don't think it is. So one morning I had a really bad incident, and I started hyperventilating, and I couldn't breathe. I couldn't catch my breath, and it was really scary. And so Mike had to call 911, and I went to the hospital in the ambulance. They took my blood sugar, and I had been fasting for about 20 hours at that point because I was too upset to eat, so I didn't eat breakfast that day. And my blood sugar was only 93, so that was actually really good. And they were like, and you're a type 2? And I was like, yeah. So I guess that tripped them out. But it was very, very much under control. And so it wasn't my blood sugar. I got to the hospital. They did a chest x-ray. They did a urine analysis. They took 5 big vials of my blood. All those tests came back normal. There was absolutely nothing wrong that they could find. And furthermore, when they put the little thing on your finger to check your pulse and your oxygen saturation, my oxygen saturation was between 98 and 100. So it wasn't my lungs, and it wasn't asthma, as I had suspected. So then they sent me home because they couldn't find anything wrong. And then when I went to my regular primary care doctor the next few days after that, he did an EKG on me, and my EKG came back abnormal. I had an elevated ST segment. So I looked that up, and Dr. Google is not my friend, because every time I look things up, you can just put in like one symptom and they tell you like you have all these horrible things. So the only thing I could find when I was looking up ST segment elevation was myocardial infarction, which is another word for a heart attack. And so that had me really freaked out and panicky for like a week. And then he sent me to the hospital to get a stress test, which I absolutely hated. I was able to do the stress test without having to take the medication. They have you get on a treadmill and you walk at an uphill incline, and then they speed you up, and then you go up even higher. And they got my blood pressure up to like 190 over something, which was not cool. But my doctor said that I passed the stress test and that it wasn't my heart, and that he thought that the ST segment elevation that he had found on the EKG was maybe just like a little repolarization or something, and he thought it was from the ketogenic diet. And the reason he told me that I needed to stop doing the keto diet, he said, I hate to tell you to stop doing it because you've made such progress. And one thing I left out was that in November, whenever I started finding out about the diabetes, I started working out and doing all kinds of stuff. And from that day in November to today, I've lost about 40 pounds, well, I think 42 pounds. So what my doctor thinks happened is that I lost the weight too fast, because I lost 26 pounds since April the 13th or 14th, just alone. And the week that I saw my doctor, I went to see him, and 1 week later I went back, like literally a week to the day, and I had literally lost 10 pounds in that 1 week. So he was just like, you cannot be losing weight this quick, and it's not good for you. It can cause you to have a heart attack or whatever. So he couldn't find anything wrong with me either. And so people were like, well, is it anxiety? Are you having like anxiety? Well, yes, I did have some anxiety when I couldn't breathe, but it was stemming from me not being able to breathe originally. Not, it wasn't like I had anxiety and then I couldn't breathe. It was like I couldn't breathe, which scared the shit out of me, and then I had anxiety. So I started doing this thing called Butekyo, Butekyo something or another method of breathing. It's Butekyo, and I've been practicing that, and it's actually helped improve my breathing a lot. I don't really know what's been going on or why I can't breathe, and nobody can find out why. So yeah, that's kind of where I've been. I've just been at home, been kind of scared, worried about myself, haven't been feeling like really playing or talking to anyone or tweeting or anything. I've really been scared. For a while there, thought maybe it was my heart and that I might die or something. And people have said some scary shit to me like, well, people can go in and they can pass their whole test, their stress test, and then, they go home and a week later they have like a heart attack. So I'm really hoping that doesn't end up being the case with me. Because that would really, really suck. And so I'm just hoping for the best here. I'm hoping that I do get better. I'm hoping that things improve. Right now there's some fires going on here in Colorado, and I have a rib out, and my chiropractor won't be back in the office until Monday. So on Monday I'll be going for an adjustment to get that rib put back in place, and as soon as this fire smoke clears from here, this area, hopefully my breathing will improve, because 3 or 4 days before these fires and my rib went out, I was having my first 4 days of being able to breathe more normally and having more energy and able to eat, because even there for a while after doing all the dieting and stuff, I really thought that I had an eating disorder because I was having a really hard time eating food at all, like at any point, and I was not getting hungry at all. So that went on for like a few days, and it was pretty scary, but my appetite has improved, and I've been trying to eat a lot better, a lot healthier. I've incorporated some carbs back into my diet, like healthy carbs, like not all carbs aren't created equal. And I've been trying to keep the sugar down because it's very important still that I keep my blood sugar down. So I check it constantly. But I just basically wanted to come on here and say hi to you guys and let you honestly know what's been going on with me and where I am, and let you know that I miss you guys and I love you, and that hopefully I will be back soon making videos again. Today I was having a pretty good day, even though there's fire, smoke, and stuff outside. I'm breathing a little better today, and every day I seem to be getting better. So hopefully, if you guys believe in prayer, I could use a lot of that right now, and I really want to get better and get back to my life, because this has really affected my quality of life, and I don't like to be in a constant state of fear or worry. So just keep me in your thoughts and prayers, guys, and I hope all is well with all of you, all of my fans, all of my friends. I didn't forget about any of you. I have an editor working on an episode for me, and yeah, so I hope that you guys will be watching out for that, and if you haven't already, please follow me at XPLBella, and why not drop a sub over here at my channel, because I will eventually be making videos over here again. If you choose to unsubscribe because I've been inactive, then I completely understand, but I hope that you'll be patient with me and stay subscribed to me. So yeah, I hope that you guys have a great rest of your weekend, and I will talk to you guys later.